Okay.
Alright, we're rolling.
Rolling?
Yep.
I think I made a mess.
You're not gonna like this.
Next up on my list was the pineapple shot. I wanted the pineapple to sort of crack in half and for the pineapple juice to start pouring out into a glass. I don't really know if this idea makes sense, but it's just a little bit different and I wanted to try experimenting with some unique shots. I halved the pineapple with a knife and stuck skewers into each half.
So I thought the pineapples were going to be too heavy to stay on the skewers, but it actually looks like it works alright. So we're about to give it a go.
Luke and I then held each piece together in front of the camera as though it was whole, and then on the count of 3 we pulled them apart simultaneously, making it look like the pineapple cracked open. It was difficult trying to maintain the framing and the composition without having some form of external monitor to monitor what we were doing, but it just made it that much more rewarding when we finally got the good shot. Next up was the liquid tracking shot, which to be honest I had no idea at this stage whether it was going to work or not. I wanted to track the liquid out of the pineapple down into the glass and then tilt up with it again, following the liquid back to the can of seltzer. This was actually composited from 4 different shots. There was a static shot of the pineapple juice, there was a shot of the pineapple juice pouring with the camera quickly tilted down, the third shot was a quick tilt up from the glass with the seltzer pouring into it, and the final shot was a shot of the can tipping back upright. The static pineapple juice shot was fine. I just poured the juice in front of the camera into a cooking pot on the ground. I shot it in a higher frame rate so I could slow it down in post. The tilt down was more difficult only because I had a ball head tripod, not a fluid head. So without the fluid head, I kind of had to roughly tilt the camera down to the spot where its focus had already been set and try and keep it straight. Then I simply reversed the shot for the seltzer, tilting up from the glass. Because I didn't have a fluid head tripod, I struggled matching these shots closely, so the framing's a little bit off. At this point, I only had 2 shots left, the mango explosion and the final hero shot of the can. Now the mango shot was a fun one. I placed a couple handfuls of frozen mangoes onto a plastic Woolies bag, and then I poured a glass of water over the mangoes. Then I crouched beneath the camera with the bag sort of sagging down with the weight of the mangoes on it, and then I pulled the Woolies bag taut, which flew everything into the air, and it just made this really cool, awesome effect. It definitely wasn't very tidy, and I'm still finding mangoes in my living room, but it was a pretty cool shot. For the final shot, I wanted the camera to track up the seltzer to the can, finally tipping up straight. This proved to be a little bit more difficult than I thought. I had about 4 or 5 skewers wedged into the bottom of the can that I was holding the base of, and then a yellow fishing line tied to the tab of the can which Luke was holding out of frame. And together we sort of pulled the can up, trying to minimize any shake or movement that we could. Now that I'd gotten all my shots, it was time to data wrangle and hit the editing room. Unfortunately, I had to clean up first. Now, with my living room slightly more livable again, my footage uploaded to my hard drive and proxy media created, I was ready to start editing. First of all, I spent a couple hours looking for music on Epidemic Sounds. I was after something that had fun, eccentric, tropical sort of vibes. The rotating can shot was by far the easiest shot to edit. It only required me masking out a couple of frames where you could see the plate it was sitting on, and then some color grading to touch it up. This is where I used my scopes to make sure that all the blacks in the image were 100% black, and that there was no light splashing onto the backdrop. This sold the whole infinite black sort of vibe I was going for, and after adding some contrast and saturation, it was looking pretty good. Thanks again for watching, guys. I'll see you again in part 3 for some final thoughts.